Hello, I'm Tim from thebuttonsmashers.com and welcome to our review of tinyBuild's Mr. Shifty. Mr. Shifty has powers similar to Marvel's Nightcrawler. Teleporting in a puff of air, he can instantly move about 10 feet through walls, a bullet's path, or a swarm of angry guards. Guided by his commander Nyx with helpful advice like, "Don't die," and "Keep not dying," Mr. Shifty tries to infiltrate a secure building to retrieve mega plutonium from the clutches of evil Chairman Stone, who has dastardly plans for it. That's it as far as story, but it hardly matters because the fun in playing Mr. Shifty is teleporting through various rooms, outwitting guards, and evading death traps. Playing as Mr. Shifty is a blast. Teleporting through a wall, behind an enemy, punching him so hard he slams the couch behind him into thousands of splinters, and then punching the door off of its frame into another baddie coming to investigate is deeply satisfying. You almost feel invincible as you circle the room in short leaps, flanking enemies, appearing in their midst, and then blinking out again. Fortunately, to preserve the challenge, Mr. Shifty dies with just one hit, giving the player even more motivation to keep moving. Another limit to Mr. Shifty's invincibility is a cooldown period after 5 jumps. Teleport too fast, too often, and Mr. Shifty may find himself in a corner with a gun barrel pointed at him. Many of the rooms in the secure building have traps or hazards for Mr. Shifty to outwit. There are mobile and stationary lasers, turrets, control panels that need keys, and a few other surprises. Environmental puzzles are well suited to Mr. Shifty powers, and give the player a chance to breathe between brawls. Visually, you cannot help but compare this to Hotline Miami. The secure building is viewed from a top-down perspective, with all rooms behind closed doors visible. Unfortunately, Mr. Shifty doesn't share Hotline Miami's great soundtrack, but rather one repetitive, although catchy theme. As in Hotline, you could pick up weapons along the way, although only melee weapons like sticks or objects that can be thrown. For some unknown reason, Mr. Shifty has an aversion to guns, although he hardly needs them. Besides the ability to teleport, Mr. Shifty has a powerful punch. When he punches foes back, they fly several feet and destroy whatever furniture or walls are in their trajectory. Objects like boxes and statues shadow in many pieces, although the particle effects for the Switch version seem to be dialed down a bit. Regardless of which version you're playing, the destructible environment adds a lot of satisfying feeling of connecting a solid blow to an enemy. A quick note about the Switch version. It plays great. Mr. Shifty is great on the go, with relatively short rooms within each level. You might not get through a whole floor while waiting for the bus, but you can always put the Switch in sleep mode and pick it up later. The game runs as smoothly as his PC brother, with the exception of more quarter-second hitches. These pauses were also present in the PC version, but much less frequent. I never suffered a loss of life with these pauses, and the game has smooth frame rates in both versions otherwise. Mr. Shifty is worth picking up despite repetitive music and level design simply because it's a blast to zip around the room, picking off hapless guards one by one. Mr. Shifty feels like the same type of apex predator as Keanu Reeves' John Wick when he enters a room. Like Keanu, Mr. Shifty glides through each conflict like a Teflon-coated shark, landing devastating blows in his unstoppable progress toward his goal. And it feels good to be the Teflon-coated shark. Thanks again for watching my review of Mr. Shifty. Be sure to check out thebuttonsmashers.com for all your nerd cultural needs.